Hi friends, Dean here with Escape to Gaming. You'll have to excuse me, I'm just getting over a cold. I've been sick for days. I finally had some time off from work and it's just been a god-awful time of being sick and too sick to play games, too sick to handle things around the house, and it's been frustrating. But anyway, I went out to some sales calls this morning and I came back. This is of all the years I've been doing rants, and I've been doing them since I think September of 2012. This is the one that I have been dreading the most. I really don't want to do this rant. I know it's going to be hated right off the bat. People are going to say, oh, this guy's an asshole, fuck him and his views and all this stuff. I understand. I've had friends that have encouraged me to go out and to make the... Dean, just do the rant. Just be yourself, because if you don't, you'll become a parody of yourself on your own YouTube show. Which is humbling. So, I do this apprehensively, very much so. But I have to do it, and I'm also tying this in with a VR to Solidrev, who did a video a while back, and I'll get into that too. This ties very much in with that. There's a lot of talk about this Mass Effect Andromeda that's coming out, which I was excited for. I went out and got this recently because I've had so many friends that, oh, Dean, my God, you haven't played Mass Effect Trilogy? You've got to buy and play this game. It's unbelievable. So I tried to get an Xbox 360 copy. I couldn't find one at the time, so I got a brand new PS3 copy, and I've been dying to play this because I'm a huge science fiction fan. I watched the original Star Treks with my dad back in the 60s when they first came on the air, and watched every single season. I never missed an episode at my granddad's or with my parents. And this was a big part of my life with Star Trek. I grew up adopting a lot of the wonderful values that are found within a simple science fiction show. They could discuss things on this show that back in the 60s in particular, you could really not discuss in a drama or action television show, but because they put to the mask of science fiction, you could get into, racism, you could get into fascism, you can get into a lot of interesting topics because of science fiction. And I love the idealism of Star Trek, that we could all just be brothers and sisters going to space, all races, all beliefs, and join in a single cause to explore space and reach out our hand in friendship to other cultures or aliens or whatever. And I love that concept. I recently bought all these on Blu-ray. Again, I've bought them so many times, the Star Treks. The Next Generation, I've only watched the first 2 seasons, and I wasn't a big fan of it, to be honest. I don't like it near as much as this. But that's another story. I can do a whole rant on that. But anyway, I love Star Trek, and I love science fiction big time. So I was excited about this Mass Effect Andromeda. In fact, I went down, I saw some gameplay videos and third-person shooter stuff, and these beautiful, universe of just gorgeous environments that you can explore. I said, oh man, this is going to be great. So I pre-ordered it. Not only just the regular, so I pre-ordered the next notch. I think it was like $90. It was like a deluxe edition. I think it was $90. And then I also ordered a special edition of the strategy guide, which I haven't even gone down and changed. I still have it pre-ordered. I'll probably have to go down and take the pre-order money and put it on something else, Gran Turismo Sport or something else. But I was all excited until about a week ago. I don't know if it correlates with a PAX thing they had recently, but there was something recently in my feed that showed up, or it might have been on TV. They have a thing where you're watching YouTube and they'll have this bar that says recommended for you. They think that you want to see it. You probably saw it because I was looking at a bunch of gameplay videos of Mass Effect Andromeda. They go, oh, Dean, well, here, we recommend that you watch these. One of them was a dev interview. It had all the different writers and lead, animators and people and stuff that had worked on the game. And it was like a round table session. I don't know if it was IGN or GameSpot. I've invested literally 2 hours searching through GameSpot, IGN, Polygon, all these different sites to try to find the video. But I saw this video and I saw an overlying attitude and a most definite political vent that was laced throughout the entire interview process. And a lot more detail as to the interactions within the game, and the bisexual interactions and gay interactions and heterosexual interactions, and you can shag aliens and shag, your friends, and it was like a giant shag fest, and there was more talk about that than the story and exploring space, and I was confused. Like, again, I have never played these, so I don't know everything that this is. I do know what this is. And I think the world of BioWare, from what I've seen of this, I haven't played this yet, but I've watched some playthroughs of it, or Let's Plays of it. I've watched early reviews, like old GameSpot reviews of this, and this looks awesome. I cannot wait to play this, and I have the sequel to it as well. And because, Dean, if you like the KOTOR, then you're going to absolutely love Mass Effect. So, well, it sounds great. I trust my friends' recommendations. They trust mine, and so I'll trust it, so I bought it. And who knows, I may still really like this, but I'm not buying this to get into, interrelationship. I'm not into the romance stuff, per se. I've got 142 hours in Fallout 4. Now, they did have some things where I think you could try to romance or appeal to the affinity of your companions. And if you have a high affinity, you'd get an affinity perk or whatever. And I think you could even romance them, maybe even male and female. I'm not sure, but I never did that. I don't care about that. I'm not into this for romance. But I do like the dialogue trees, and I love that kind of interaction, how you can pick and choose the direction the conversation will go and all that. And they show that with the Mass Effect Andromeda. They show that you can pick this dialogue tree, and it's based on emotion, different types of emotion. And I said, well, that's cool. I like that. But once again, I saw this dev interview thing, and I quickly lost my heart on it. Quickly went down for the game. Like instantly. And I just said, this is not what I signed up for. I didn't know the game was all about this. I thought it was about this. And so this is before the whole Manveer hair thing, and or whatever his name is, Indian fellow, made a bunch of racist remarks, and then people were sending me links. Oh, Dean, check this out. There's a lead animator that was hired for her political views, and instead of her ability to animate facial animations, and now BioWare's come out and saying, oh, it's not true, and all this stuff. So there's been lots of speculation and back and forth stuff, but the more I've examined the political vent, and believe me, there is most definitely with this company a political vent. They're infusing their views into the game. And for some people, that's great. They're going to see, oh, really? It has that? And they believe in this stuff? Oh, God, now I really can't wait to play it. And that's fine. If you like that particular thing, that's fine. What's funny is that, and I would say this with all honesty, a minimum of 85 to upwards of 90% of my friends have an opposing view than I do. And I'm talking to all my friends on Facebook, all my friends on Twitter, and probably on YouTube. I would speculate that at least realistically 85% of them do not share my views of politics or religion. And even some of the ones that share my politics, they certainly don't share my views of my faith, my personal faith as a Christian. I'll just put it out there once, and people write, oh, I'm unsubbing. This guy believes in aliens and fairy tales, he's a Christian. But that's my faith. I don't wear it on my sleeve. If you guys don't accept it, that's okay. That's fine. I understand. And then with the childhood, and how it was forced and fed down my throat as a kid, like Ash and Alien with a rolled-up penthouse to Sigourney Weaver, that's how religion was force-fed down my gullet as a kid. And if anyone should be an atheist or an agnostic, it should be me. But I had my own feelings and my own faith that through all the shit that I've been through, I still believe. But that's another story. That's all I'm going to say on that. So, like I said, I'm not a prude, though. I violated many of my own codes and ethics as a supposed Christian because of my probably embracing a lot of things that go against the grain of that. I have lived a very promiscuous life, very addicted to sex and porn and multiple partners, and I've done some things that I would not go back and do again today, but they're just part of who I am. This is who I've evolved into. I'm certainly not proud of that type of behavior. My daughter knows about it. I've talked very honestly. I don't hide things from my own children. I told her, look, this is who your father is. This is what he does. Yeah, he smokes pot. Yeah, he's done these things. I'm not proud of it, and I certainly wouldn't want you to follow and do those things that I've done. But I say that because I've been there, and that's how I have a bond with my daughter, because I relate to her as a young girl in her mid-20s. And when I put my I put my mindset on it being 25 years old, being her age, and I get down and talk with her at that level and leave judgment out of it and accept her for who she is. She has adopted some of my values and beliefs, which I'm very proud of, but she certainly has other questions, and she has a spirit of her own. She has another father, so she has other influences in her life, politically and with religion and all that, and that's fine. But at the end of the day, I'm very proud of her, and no matter what she is or becomes, straight, gay, an agnostic, an atheist, a Christian, a Hindu, a Muslim, a Buddhist, I will love her and accept her for who she is. I'm all about embracing other people's points of view. I just watched one of the best documentaries I've ever seen from a known leftist, Noam Chomsky, a huge anti-war advocate. It's one of the best documentaries I've ever seen. And then within the documentary, he's interviewing, what was his name? I think it was William F. Buckley. He was like a known conservative back, in the early 70s. Great banter and interview that he had with Buckley. And what's funny is that I have a lot of admiration for Buckley too. I can sit and watch both of them. I like to take in other people's points of view. And I'm saying all this to preface this lengthy thing I'm getting to about this Mass Effect Andromeda, because I want you to understand who I am. I'm not a narrow-minded bigot. I'm not, oh, he's one of them there Trump supporters, make America great again, look at him, look. I'm not like that. I have certain definite political views, but as a libertarian, first and foremost, I'm for everyone's rights to be who they want to be. I don't want to tell anyone what they can be, what they can't be, who they can marry, who they can't marry, all of that stuff. Women's rights, women's pay scales, all of that. My wife, for the last 2 years, is finally making more money than me. She finally got her degree. She got like a $20,000 a year jump in her salary because now she's got a piece of paper, and she's like going way past me financially, and I'm proud of her. I don't have any resentment at all towards that. It hurts my pride a little bit, but you know what? I'm very proud of her, and I encouraged her. My dad goes, I wouldn't be encouraging her. I'm like, keep out of it, dude, She's my wife. She wants to do this. I want to see her pursue her dreams and see her fulfilled and happy. That's all I care about. Who cares if she makes more money than I? I don't care. So I'm an Alan Alda when it comes to women's rights. I've been a huge advocate of women's rights from the beginning, from day one. I'm not so much so that I thought that Grand Theft Auto 5 was totally misogynistic and sexist. There's certainly have all the women portrayed as prostitutes. There's a lot of things in GTA that you really have to look at and question. But, I kept politics out of it. I enjoyed the game for what it was. I felt uncomfortable playing as Trevor because it goes against the grain of who I am, but it was humorous. It's kind of like watching a sitcom or a movie. All playing as Franklin and Trevor and the other character, Michael, was fun. I liked the being able to get inside the heads of each of those characters. It made for a well-rounded and interesting story with a way you could end the story at the end. That was fine. Right off the bat, though, there were certain viewpoints when the game was reviewed. Unfortunately, there's a particular political bent within gaming journalism. It leans one particular way. You can read between the lines and you can figure it out for yourself. So a lot of games get shot down. Games like, where are they? Oh, here they are. Medal of Honor games, which everyone seemed to like when they were dealing with World War II. But the minute they get into the war that Bush started, we're talking about, over in the Middle East, both of these games, which I think are wonderful games. I think they're great games. This one, I literally had tears in my eyes at the end of it because the camaraderie with the soldiers was so good. Now, I do have mixed feelings about showing a military game with a conflict that we're presently in. I have real convictions about it, but I was curious to play the game. I love the older Medal of Honor so much, I gave it a chance, and even I wouldn't buy it at launch because of that. But eventually I saw some reviews, and I'll give it a chance. I do like shooters, and apparently I'm not going to go back to World War II, so I'll check it out. And I loved it. I was really surprised. And I like this one too, but man, the hate these games got because of a particular, political belief that most of the mainstream game journalists had, they shot these games down. But there would be other reviewers that give them glowing reviews, including the multiplayer. Some loved it, some didn't. It never quite reached the polish and perfection of Call of Duty, but I think these are two very good. Some of them have some things in them I really like, some innovative things in them. Yeah, there's some invisible walls, and yeah, I had game-breaking bugs in the PS3 version of this, but they're great games. But because of politics, these games are shot down. There's a lot of politics in gaming, and because it's aimed at a younger audience, maybe those in their 20s. There's a lot of what I call pandering to the taste and the politics of the day of younger people. And let's just be honest, most of younger people, because they're taught by a political system, a school system that pretty much teaches one vent of politics. I mean, I hate to discuss politics, I really do, because it's right off the bat, oh, he's one of them, they're conservative, he's a right-wing, Republican. I'm not a Republican, I'm a libertarian. And even at that, I'm a very sophisticated libertarian. There are things that are traits of liberalism that I definitely adopt. There are traits of conservatism that I also adopt. It's tough to, when you're a parent especially, you become more cautious and you become a little bit more conservative as a parent. I never really realized I was one until I became a parent. And then you start getting overly protective of, your wife and your daughter and stuff, and you start adopting some more conservative approaches to life and adulthood as a parent, I suppose. But, either way, I like I said, most of my friends have an opposing view than I do, and I love them for it. I like to have the interaction. I'm not afraid of it at all, but I never push my point of view. If you guys want to ask me, talk to me privately about, what's this thing with your faith and with your beliefs and all, I rarely get into it. If you want to talk to me privately about it, that's fine. But I don't wear it in my sleeve. I would never push it on anyone. So just to get that off my chest. So, Battle Stations Midway is a game that I just watched a bunch of reviews. I just bought this the other day. There's definitely some kind of anti-war thing showing the Japanese point of view as well as the Americans in this, which, and that's fine. They're trying to show two sides of a coin. That's fine. And even more so with the sequel to this, which I'm trying to get, Battle Stations Pacific. I'm trying to find, and none of my stores locally have it yet. But I would like to get this. I've always wanted to play this. So I'm not afraid to play something with viewpoints that are different than my own, but there has to be a redeeming value in it for me. And for me to play, like Thelma and Louise, I saw 3 times at the theater. I absolutely loved it. My dad was furious. Do you realize it's a feminist movie, all this stuff? I said, I never saw it that way. I never saw it. I saw 2 women that were trying to run from their past. I guess after he said that, I started looking at it through that filter, and I go, yeah, I guess I could see where he's coming from. I guess it could be perceived that way. And now I can clearly see how people could see that. But at the time, what's funny is I never watched movie reviews back then. So to me, I just went to see, hey, Ridley Scott, he's one of my favorite directors. It's a great movie. I loved it so much. I told my ex-wife, we took her to see it the second time. I saw it by myself the first time. And then we took another friend, and my wife and I went and saw it with someone else. Again, we loved it. It's a great film. I have it in my collection. My dad, which I don't talk to anymore, but my sister told me that, Dad won't watch this Mad Max Fury Road. It's all about, it's a feminist movie and all that stuff. And I'm like, and I told my sister, I said, it's not a feminist film at all. I didn't see that. Well, don't they have the Furiosa characters and she like above Max? And no, I said they have another perspective that's interesting. They have 2 characters. They're actually like 2 road warriors. And I watch, and I know Miller is a classic liberal that wrote this or made the movie. But I like the guy, and I watched virtually every interview I could find on YouTube of George Miller and his impetus for making this film and writing these women into the story. And it's not because of feminism, it's because he said, well, if in the past it was always they're fighting for oil. This time they're fighting for, the stakes are higher, they're fighting for the virtue of these women that are oppressed in this horrible situation. They're become a commodity like oil and everything else. And that's great. I think it added value and dimension to a story. I think the movie is better because of it, because that's my view. And I have friends that share my political views that are probably at odds with me about this, but that's just how I feel. I did the research. Yeah, I know where Miller's politics are, but he explained himself very plainly in this, and I have no qualms with this film at all. I don't mind certain things. Movies are different. You can kind of sit there and you just take in a two-dimensional thing. Some of my favorite movies, one of them, my top 10 movies of all time, is by Woody Allen, is the movie Interiors. It's the only serious drama that he's made, and it happens to be about three women, three sisters. And it's all about their lives and their upbringing and their neuroses and stuff. It's fascinating. It's a great, one of my favorite movies. I just went to a concert and saw two female entertainers, Stevie Nicks and Chrissy Hines from the Pretenders, in Reno, Nevada. It's one of the best concerts I've ever seen. I'm saying this because I love women. I'm not a sexist pig. I'm not a misogynistic, chauvinistic asshole. I've seen all that portrayed in All in the Family, and the guys, Archie Bunker's screaming at Edith to get him a beer like she's a slave. I've never liked that. I don't ever do that to my wife. If I want something to drink, I get up off the couch and I get it myself. And then I ask her, can I get you something to drink? Those are my values. That's how I believe. I don't believe in using women like slaves or a doormat at all. I love women. I love my wife. I love my daughter. I respect my mother and love her. We all have things that we subscribe to or don't subscribe to, but I do like women, and I have no issues with defending their rights or their value systems or their right to get pay and everything. I mean, recently Colin, I guess Moriarty, just got ostracized because of what I thought was a pretty innocent comment, but people will take things the wrong way, and there'll be very many of you here that may watch this video. This guy's an asshole. That's it. I'm unsubbing. Dislike this guy's video. This is bullshit. But please just hear me out. This is not something that I don't want to become all things to all people. I have to be true to myself. I just want to explain my reasons, and I've talked about this before. I have somewhat of an aversion to playing as female characters, although I love the Lara Croft, the Tomb Raider series. I love the Tomb Raider series. I have it here. In fact, I recently got this. I haven't played it. I played this on the PS3 initially at my father-in-law's. I call it my father-in-law's. My mother remarried after 41 years. My parents got a divorce. Both of my folks remarried. He would really be my stepdad, but I don't want to call him my stepdad, so I call him my father-in-law. But he's a gamer. He's like 76 years old. He games. And he loves playing. In fact, I played Heavenly Sword on his PS3. I played this game. I think we played Legends. Maybe it was on the PS2. But I played on the PS2 and PS3 many female protagonist games. But now his reason for playing them is it's almost twisted. He likes to see the little female flipping and doing things on the screen, and her little, her ass hanging out and her boobs and all that. So it's like, you can see he gets like a delight in it. And it's funny because I'll watch my mother gets irritated by his, because he takes delight in it. It's entertaining. And so based on that, I don't watch it, I don't play the game, and it doesn't arouse me in that kind of a manner at all. But there's some gamers that like that. They told Dean, why would you want to look at a little guy's ass the whole time when you can look at some chick, doing flips and platforming in front of you? That's an interesting thought. I never thought of it that way. But again, I play games to role play. Now, my wife and I both played the old PS1 Lara Croft Tomb Raider games on the PS1 because they were very much like Duke Nukem Time to Kill and Land of the Babes. A little third-person platformer, very similar graphics and shooting, platforming. And I played everything at the time. It's like nothing else to play. I don't know, what's this Tomb Raider? Oh, it's like, Indiana Jones, but it's got a girl in it. Oh, that's weird. But because her name was Laura, and my wife's name is Laura, and I got to watch my wife play, and we get a big kick out of it. So I have like a history. I have an affinity for the Tomb Raider series because it's something that's endearing to me, because my wife and I played this together in the very early days, back when she gamed, and I wish she would. I'd love to see her play something like this now with me. It's funny, when I played the Tomb Raider reboot in the Xbox 360, she watched me play the entire game and loved it. And I tried to get, well, here, take a, you like the, oh no, it's too complex for me. I don't know all those button moves, and she wouldn't play it. But her and I loved the Tomb Raider game, so I have no problem playing as a female in a game. Although I do feel somewhat more removed from the character. It's just strange for me to play as, especially in the beginning of the game. Eventually you get more into it and you kind of get past all that. But for me, I play for role-playing purposes. I like to play role-playing games. That's why I like games like, Duke Nukem Forever, where you play as like Duke Nukem. I love the Duke Nukem character. Now there's some, definitely has some sexist, misogynistic things without a doubt in this game. And I can see that the hate this game gets because of that. And I think because of that, politically, this game will get, crapped on. I do agree with it. I do agree that there are those elements in that, but because I like the Duke Nukem character, again, because I played just like Lara Croft, because I played the little Time to Kill, which is innocent, to me, and Land of the Babes even, it was like comical. I mean, the girls aren't even that sexy. My wife would even get a little upset at the Duke Nukem Time to Kill because I play it. And he's in strip clubs. Look at the girls are nude. I bet you like that, don't you? And I go, look, keep watching. They'll turn into male strippers in a minute, and you can get your kicks out of it. I mean, it doesn't matter to me. I'm not playing it to see the nude little polygons or whatever. It's a joke. Now the new games are very realistic and kind of have that motion capture realism and everything. But we all play games for different reasons. But again, I play them for role playing purposes. I have a friend of mine. He did a video, it's been maybe a year or so now, that I told him to play. He saw my review of Wolfenstein: The New Order. Now he shares, I know for a fact, he shares my political and religious viewpoint. And he doesn't always respond on my Facebook, but he sent me a message, and Dean, I want you to see this video. And he did a video about his impressions halfway into this game. And he had a problem with it. He he's a Christian. He didn't like the overt sex scenes in this game. I don't like seeing all this nudity and this sex scene. He's, screwing this girl and just like casual sex. It's like it's not even a relationship and all that stuff. And I go, well, and I try to explain to him, I think that this game is done like in the spirit of those heavy metal cartoon magazines, which I used to collect as a kid. I love those heavy metal where they show these, very voluptuous women with swords right out of a Franzetta or a Boris, illustrations and paintings. And I have the heavy metal movie on DVD. It's one of my favorites. I saw it at the drive-in. I think I saw it at the drive-in with some friends of mine out of high school. And we loved it. It had Black Sabbath and Dio, it had all the music to it. Great music, and had all these different animators that had different scenes that were kind of like the magazine. And it has a lot of like sex and violence. That's a theme of the whole heavy metal magazine, like overt sex and violence. And there's something about juxtaposing the two that's kind of titillating and exciting. I think it's within that spirit that they have those elements laced throughout Wolfenstein: The New Order. And it doesn't bother me at all. Like I said, I'm not a prude. I see that, and I thought it was great. I liked the relationship that he had with, I think it was Anya or whatever her name was. Whether I need to see all of those scenes in there, whether some of those could be perceived as a little awkward, I can validate, but it didn't bother me. I didn't see that I'm ripping this out. I don't want to play this crap. But there are people that would feel that way, and I had to validate my friends' feelings at the end of the day. I said, I'm sorry you feel that way, but I love the game, as you know. I never thought of it from your perspective, but I appreciate you bringing it to my attention, and I told him about why I thought they made it that way, because it's kind of in that theme of the sex and violence, like the heavy metal thing. But but that shows that we all have different views. So I'm very accepting of some things, and other things bother me. But I worked for a Fortune 500 company in the early '90s for a couple of years, made really good money. Of all the managers they had, I was one of 2 straight white male managers, and all the other 13 were homosexuals. And I got along great with them. I just finished, a friend of mine is a homosexual right here in town. I just finished one of his condos. Every time he needs a painting project done, he calls me up. He's also into cars. He has an old Mercedes he's restoring. When we were done with the job, he paid me. I hung out for a couple hours with him afterwards for like half the day. We were sitting there shooting the shit about cars. I was telling him about my new Challenger. He's showing me pictures of how his restoration on his older Mercedes is coming. And we have a great time together. And I have a great affection for the guy. I really like him. I don't want to go to some of the clubs and places with him. I don't. If he wants to take me to lunch or something, that's fine. I go with him. I have no issues being seen with him. His partner, I think, is cool as shit. I like him too. I have no qualms with his friend or partner or whatever. That's fine. It's the same thing when I worked there. When I worked for that company, I had no issues. And they would kind of poke at me a little bit and try to get under my skin, but I saw it for what it was and didn't let it get to me, because LA was so diverse. There's just so much of that. And I was from kind of a conservative Bible Belt back east town that I found it fascinating that there were so many different attitudes and diversity and all that. But I think that people can take some of that too far. And I think that this is getting back on this long-winded tangent, getting back to Andromeda. I saw this interview, and I'm still trying to find it. I'm going to continue to look for it. Although I have come across others I've watched, and some similar comments and things in there. But there's definitely a spirit of, there's more emphasis on the characters and the interactions between the characters. They've spent a lot of time talking about that and how juicy the romancing was, the bisexuals and homosexual relationships, or you want to shag an alien, it's all there. You can do it all, And it's like, it was kind of for me personally, it was just kind of a turnoff. I'm not really into this. This is not KOTOR to me. Which I'm anxious to play, and maybe there's that kind of stuff in here. I don't know, but I'm not into that aspect of it. I like the dialogue trees and interacting and finding out about the aliens and different cultures and all that, but I'm just not into that aspect of it. And it's not because I'm an old prude. Just for me, I just feel uncomfortable. When it comes to a game, a movie, you can passively sit there and take it in for a couple hours, 90 minutes or 2 hours. And it's good. It's good to be entertained and to see all sides of a point of view. But a game that I'm going to sink 20 hours or 60 hours or 142 hours in or 250 hours in, I have to have something that's in it for me, that's going to hold my interest, to keep me engaged all the way through that game. And if there's something that for me is like a subconscious stumbling block, or something that I just don't feel comfortable seeing my character do, or whatever, it's off-putting for me, personally. Doesn't mean that I'm judgmental of those things. I just don't want it in my game. It's really that simple. I prefer playing as a man in a role-playing capacity, you could play the Call of Juarez games, you get to play as two brothers. And one of them was like, a gun-toting, I think one was a preacher and the other was like a gun-toting, six-shooter guy. One guy was expert with rifles. And they had more of it with the Bound in Blood. You play as the two brothers in this too. And I liked that you had a freedom of choice. And in all fairness, in this Mass Effect Andromeda, you can at least, I think they're like siblings, a brother or sister, you can play as a male or a female. And I take my hat off that. Thank God at least you have that dynamic. I like that. I like that in a game that you can pick and choose. The same thing with, Fallout 4. You could play as a man or a woman. You had wonderful character creations, and that's great. And then in the Cartel, they took it a step further. You had a black woman, I think it was the FBI, Kim, her name was. And I played as all three. There's Eddie Gutierrez, a little Mexican fellow that's good with like SMGs. You got the old crusty white guy, LA cop, that's like a tough, crooked LA cop, You can play as him, who's like the grandfather of the guys from the Old West, or the grandson or whatever. And then, again, you had Kim that was like an expert with assault rifles and sniper. You could play as all three, and each of them had their kind of own storylines. So not all the levels played out exactly the same. So it was good. I liked that you could play as different characters, and it gave it replayability and what have you. I had no issue with that. I had no issue playing with different races. I had no issue playing a black Vietnam vet who's half black or Italian or whatever. I think this is a great story, and I can't wait to return to this. And I like the Mafia 2 just as much. I didn't ask to be born half Scottish, Irish, and Greek. I'm a combination of those three races. It just so happens I would be considered Caucasian or white, but I didn't ask to be. This is what it is. And for people that to hate other people because they were born black or born from the Middle East or born in India or in China or Mexico or whatever, it goes against my nature. I've been married 3 times. The first 2 marriages, one was to a half Cherokee Indian and half Mexican gal, and the other was to a complete, from Mexico, a woman that was from Mexico. It spoke broken English. And I loved the Mexican culture. I instantly was like accepted by their family, and they were very warm, and all the brothers and sisters. And I like that familyness that you get with those Hispanic people. It's a wonderful culture. I like embracing different cultures and things, but there's certain morality things, for me personally, that I don't feel comfortable playing as. I have no problem playing as a different race person, but I just prefer playing as a man. It's just me. I identify with more of a Captain Kirk, character, and sometimes I identify with the logic of Spock. But I grew up with Kirk is my idol to this day. Part of who I am is because of watching so much Star Trek and seeing I would consider a healthy male role model, and that's who I identify with. I watched like Davy Crockett, Hogan's Heroes, and all these other shows. And yeah, back then many of those were white people that were at the helm, because that's the way the studios were run, and that's what they thought America was mostly white probably back then, and so they were catering to what they thought people wanted. Today there's much more diversity put into television shows and movies, and that's fine. But my issue is that if a company, BioWare, the one I'm talking about, if they're more interested in hiring for diversity and political, I guess, solidarity instead of hiring for talent and whatever, and the game suffers because of it, that's where I take issue with the Mass Effect Andromeda. And so I'm coming full circle. And some of the things that I've discovered about this company, this Manveer Hair, I don't even know what the guy's name is, very racist statements. Manveer Hair, I think his name. I think he's from India, but very extremely racist, anti-white statements. Hey, dude, I didn't ask to be born white. Why are you picking on me? I have nothing to do with this. And even people are like, you made my grandfolks slaves or whatever. Like, hey, dude, I'm from the north. My grandfather came over in the original Mayflower. We stayed up north. We're on the side that wanted to free the slaves. I don't owe you reparations. I had nothing to do with that. Nothing. I can't go back and change history. Horrible. This country has gone through, almost ripped itself apart during the Civil War. Hopefully we'll never have anything like that again. And again, a lot of it is over racism. I hate racism. I can't stand it. And I don't like reverse racism either. I don't like to be singled out because I'm white. I want to get beat up. I never had any ill feelings until I survived the LA riots. And I watched live as Reginald Denny was getting the living shit kicked out of him on camera, live, because he was a white truck driver in the wrong neighborhood at the wrong time. And I had to continue to go to work every day, and I've never been more scared in my life. We had the National Guard with M16s down at my Vons, my grocery store, where I bought all my groceries. I mean, I saw a microcosm of what could potentially hit this whole planet, and it scared me. And I've never seen such racism as a city was burning itself to the ground. And reverse racism. Yes, there were corrupt LAPD cops. Yes, some of them went too far. But there's two sides to every issue. And CNN only showed one side of the issue. They didn't show the entire picture but once. There was one thing where they showed the whole video in its context, and you could see that there were definitely two sides. Only that one time. And then after that, that video was removed, and then they just showed on loop the cops just beating up Rodney King, not Rodney King getting up and coming after the cops. They cut that part out. And so naturally, it looks very one-sided. This is the problem with the media that everyone loves so much, is that they have a political bent, sadly, and this is what they tend to show. I don't even watch the news. In 2007, I ripped my coaxial. I don't watch the news, any news. We watched some of the debates, the political debates. For the first time I watched anything political in like 8 years. I don't even want to see that. I'm sick of politics. I don't like talking about it. It's cost me friends. God forbid I put anything political on my Facebook. Man, I've just been raked over the coals because, like I said, I have many friends that have an opposing view, so I purposely don't. I don't want to put no one cares about my personal views. But this matters to me because I see a company that has a lot of feminist writers. They're man-hating writers that hate men. You get a lot of racist types remarks and things, and the more I looked into it, the worse it goes. Not just this Manveer guy. There's other people. My friend just this morning texted me, found another fellow writer that has equally racist remarks, and then I did some more research. There's a thing called Glassdoor, where it's kind of like a LinkedIn deal. You can look at companies and see their rating and how employees, how they rate the game that have worked there, whatever. And one employee remained anonymous, and I'll have a link for this below. I try to read this. My writing is not very good. It's pretty messy. I try to quickly write this all down. She worked with a company for over 5 years, full-time. She listed her pros, what she liked about the company, and then in the cons, this is what she said. I think the company overall is like a 3.9 rating as far as the employees and how they rated the company working there. She goes, the cons, she goes, the rest of the company is a bloated, ineffective organization plagued by immature behaviors and a lack of big picture thinking. Personal agendas run wild with the kind of backstabbing you'd expect from an all-girls high school. Okay? People who try to assess, address, and improve the situation are singled out and persecuted, and their turnover is high, almost all of them moving on to better companies. It's unfortunate. My departure from the company was one of the most unprofessional and inhumane experiences I've had. It's a pretty bold statement. I am shocked to see the gap between what they profess as values and how they conduct themselves in person. And then she had at the end her advice to their management there. You profess humility, perhaps learn what it means. This is not a great company. A lot of the social justice warrior type stuff that's going on with this. In fact, in the Glassdoor at the top of it, someone else said, in one sentence, said that their experience there was schizophrenic and arrogant. Working here left scars. That was their quote. So this is not a good company. This is a company that panders to a particular political event, like I said. And it's unfortunate. This is not, gaming shouldn't be about this. So to me now, the game is compromised. You have the bulk of the team that worked on this has their agenda that they're infusing into this. And if anyone probably try to come out and maybe some of the writers, well, maybe we should take it in this direction or that. I mean, this is all, I guess, conjecture at this point. I'm just hypothetically putting this out there. And they probably got shot down, and got listed as a troublemaker and then singled out. So you have this definitely event with this particular team, and who knows, maybe all of the teams are like this. This Manveer guy worked for Raven Software and worked on two of my favorite games, Wolfenstein from 2009 and Singularity. Both games didn't do real well, and who knows, I don't know what his, job on those games were, but I was shocked to hear that. Should I boycott those games too? I don't know. I don't know the nature of the Raven software, but it makes me, I'm going to be putting more time into looking at the companies that are making my entertainment, because sometimes I'm not interested in those kind of political views. I played, where is it here? I've got it here somewhere. The Last of Us, I started to play. Where the hell is it? I've got it right here somewhere. Here, The Last of Us Remastered. I started to play this on the PS3, and then I bought the better version. I started replaying this. I couldn't believe how great the graphics were. This is a great story. Now, I never finished the game. I got maybe a third of the way into it, and I need to get back. I want to finish this. But what I did do when I was waiting for... excuse me. My back is killing me. When I was waiting for my surgery, I sat and I watched a bunch of Let's Plays because I couldn't play games, but I was enjoying... I watched like 3 or 4 Let's Plays, and this was one of them. I watched this entire game in a Let's Play, just because I wanted to see that story. I already started it, and I wanted to see how it ended. And my God, what a fantastic story. They could definitely make this into a movie. Now, they had a character named Bill, and I saw this whole story arc in the game. I thought that was a great gay character. Beautifully written into the role, very believable. It added some definite texture to the story and to what was going on. I thought it was really very well written. And then supposedly I've heard that, now I haven't seen the DLC in like a Let's Play, but they have a DLC with a little girl, Ellie, and another girl, and I guess there's some gay kiss or scene between her. Now that I've never seen, I don't know that. I may pass on that DLC because that is not something, not only do I not want to play as a female character, although you do play as Ellie in this at times, and that was fine. I don't mind trading off, kind of like Franklin and Trevor and all that in GTA 5. I don't mind going back and forth, but because at least I like Joel. Joel, and I had tears in my eyes in the beginning when his daughter got killed. It was a horrible scene. Any father that has a daughter in particular I don't think you could make it through that scene without shedding a tear. So I really love Joel. I love the father figure. He saw someone like his little girl, wanted to protect her. And that's natural for men to want to protect women and little girls. And I identified with that. That's why I love this game so much. And I can't wait to get into this and finish this. But apparently the writer that did this for Naughty Dog, which I just also discovered just a few days ago, they're making a new sequel where they're going to have Ellie and her love interest or her gay friend or character. Apparently it's centered around that dynamic of the game and the character. So now not only do I have to wrestle with whether I feel comfortable playing as a woman, but as a gay woman at that, which for me personally, it's like it would be very difficult. I could do it. If I was a game reviewer, I'd have to. When I started my channel, I had a friend that told me I had a much bigger channel. He said, Dean, if you're going to review games, you're going to have to play games you don't like, and you're going to have to play multiplayer, and you're going to have to review everything. And he was right. And that's why I kind of got away from doing game reviews and became more of a vlogger, because I wouldn't be as objective. And I would not want to play the DLC, and then I give it a 6 out of 10 because I personally don't like that. It wouldn't be fair. So, like I said, if you want to play that, if you're excited titillated by playing as Ellie, as a gay female character in the sequel, by all means, go get the game. I have no qualms with that. I'm just saying that I don't feel comfortable playing as that. And this is getting back to my VR to Solidrev. He got crucified, my God. He got a lot of hate and dislikes because he dared to stand up and say it. Look, I don't feel comfortable. I'd love to play as Joel. He's like me. He likes playing I've got the game up here. What the hell is it? Max Payne 3. He likes the tough, tough cop, male character, alpha male type character. He's like me in that respect. There's nothing wrong with that, But I have no problem playing as as the daughter of Ripley in this either. I think because it goes with the story. If they had just made her daughter up, whatever, it would be one thing. But the fact that it kind of fit with the story, and I've watched a complete playthrough of this, even though I haven't played it in that same time period. This was the other game that I watched all the way through, and it was a great game. I had no problem. And someday I will play this all the way through and play as Ripley's daughter. I have no issue with it. So in the right context, I don't mind it because it fits the story. But I like role-playing games where I can choose the characters I like. And I don't mind taking on a team with women and men and different types of people, different beliefs or whatever. That's fine. But to me, this is when I play a role-playing game, this is what I like, is something like this. The first Wasteland or Wasteland 2, which I got to get back to this. This is such a great game. This game is like really tough. But I love it. It's great. It's fun. I love RPG elements in games. And I love the dialogue trees, and I find it fascinating. It makes a game an exquisite tapestry that you can really submerge yourself inside of. It's great. But I have to have some connection to the main character for me, just how I play it. So that's my VR to Solidrev. I hope you appreciate this, bud. He asked me, Dean, well, I'd love to hear your 2 cents. Please come to my defense, And I hate to admit this, I'll say it honestly, I was a coward. I was afraid to discuss any of this. I was afraid, I'll lose half my subs overnight. And maybe I will. Maybe I'll lose a lot of people because of this video. I don't know. I hope not. I'd like to be thought of as being a rational person. I just have my own taste. It's that simple. I'll say this once, I won't watch the new Star Wars films. And people that know me, this Episode 7 and anything beyond that, I have no interest in seeing it because I'm faithful to George Lucas as the father of the story. In my mind, only George can write the characters and story, and that's it. The fact that he sold his rights to Disney is of no consequence. It's just my perception. But my friends that want to go see it, that's fine. Go see all of them. But I'm just letting you know that I won't see it. I have my personal reasons, my own convictions. It doesn't mean that I'm right. I'm in an extreme minority, I guarantee you. You'd be lucky to find 20 people in the U.S. that probably share my perspective. And frankly, I haven't found not one person that shares my viewpoint of not seeing the new Star Wars films, but that's fine. I'm just letting you know that I'm a unique person. I have very sophisticated taste. I'm not a prude. I'm for everyone's rights and to be and like I said, you may see this new Mass Effect game, and think it's the greatest thing in the world. Oh, wow, it has all that in it. You can do it, bro. Oh, man, where do I sign up? And it may be the greatest thing in the world to you. Maybe there's those elements in here, too. I don't know. I know that the writer of, I think, the third one went on to manage the whole team that did the others. And from what I understand, there are real problems with the end of the story. I don't know all the details. I haven't wanted to watch anything on it. I don't want to have it spoiled for me because I want to play through these. But for all I know, a lot of those things are in here too. I don't know. I guess there is. I don't know. But now all I know is that now I'm leery of the BioWare. And maybe the bulk of this has only happened the last few years in making this new one. Maybe some of these issues didn't exist back then. I don't know. Take more research, I guess. But it's sad that I have to break shit down like this and make... I have convictions. I can't play a game that's made by a group of people that I don't share. Not only do I not share their beliefs, and that's okay, but they're infusing too much of their own personal beliefs in, frankly, hatreds and bigotry. That's what I take issue with. It's only that. I can't in good conscience do it. And if I had found out that the team from Avalanche that made Mad Max had similar interests, I'd be concerned. In fact, one of the interviews that I saw, the guy was saying within the interview, that the one that I'm trying to find the video of that I was talking about, he loves the Mad Max movies. This Fury Road, he loves this. He says, our next project, we want to do a Mad Max game. I'm terrified to see how they'll turn this out. Oh my God, they probably would ruin my characters and experience of the game. Maybe, just based on what I've already seen with this company and this particular team working on it. I don't want them touching my beloved Mad Max. So, but that's just me. That's how I feel. So hopefully I made some sense here. I'm sorry to be so on a lengthy tangent. I wanted to give this a complete fair shot, the entire opinion. I want you to know who I am. I pride myself in being rational and being fair-minded. I really do try to hear. Let me know in the comments how you feel. Do you think I'm way out of line? Do you feel I have a right to play the characters that I want to play as? Do you feel that there's anything wrong with that and playing one game and not playing another? I genuinely would love to hear in the comments. Please leave your input. Just keep it civil. Try not to be nasty. Don't turn it into a big us versus them, You just try to see it from my perspective, I guess. But certainly leave your 2 cents in your perspective, which I do want to validate, and I want to understand. I want to know how other people feel about this. Now, I have my good friend Blaze, and I'll have a link to his video down below. He made a video just last night, and I actually left a very positive comment on it, because he goes, I don't give a fuck about all you guys with your anti-views. I'm just going to play the fucking game. I'm going to play the game. I don't care about their politics or one guy who might be a racist. He doesn't want to know. He doesn't care. And you know what? Maybe we should all be more that way. I don't know. Maybe that's really all that matters, is that we have fun with the game. But to me, my whole argument is that a lot of those people and personas and attitudes are probably going to be infused into the game, as many of those people wrote the dialogues and the story or have created the characters in this game. So to me, the game is compromised based on all that bigotry and this social warrior justice stuff, which I'm not into. It's just not my thing. I think people go too far with it. I accept some of it, and I certainly don't mind hearing parts of it, but people are, it's just, calling, Trump supporters fascist and beating them up, innocent people. I don't agree with that kind of behavior. I think that we should all sit at tables and have dialogues. It's good. My good buddy Tim, recently on Facebook, he's someone that has an opposing political viewpoint as me, but we've had a very good, constructive back and forth talking about politics, and it's great. It's so refreshing. You can sit, and he even said, see, here's two grown men that have completely opposing views. We've had a rational discussion, and it's rewarding, and it feels so good. If the world could do that, it would be a much better place. Let's get it away from the us versus them mindset, and just let's look at people and just accept people's points of view. Let's have a discussion. Let's have a dialogue about values and ethics. Does it matter in a game? Does it matter in a team that makes a game? That's my point. So thanks for sitting through this long-winded rant. Sorry I haven't felt very good. I have much more rants and things I want to do. I'll do them as I can, as I get feeling better here this week. I had to get this one right out. So thank you, Solidrev. I'm sorry I took so long. My humble apologies for being a coward and not addressing this earlier. I really, and people have seen it on Twitter and Facebook, I've been very perplexed with this, whether to even do this, because I know I'll be hated by some, the things that I've said, which is unfortunate. But some of my friends said, who ironically, I know they have opposing views as well, said, Dean, look, be yourself. We'll respect you in the end. And if people can't, be civil and leave because of that, well, then they never were your friends in the first place. And, maybe they got a good point. So that's my 2 cents, guys. The bottom line is, enjoy your games. And thanks for watching.